Join 93.9 Mike FM on Facebook for live conversations with amazing people during Darren's Humans in Tune videos. Miss the live video? Catch the replay on our Facebook page or listen to the podcast at 939mikefm.com.
And hey, it's Darren here. Time for a Humans in Tune segment, and I am just giddy with joy because I have Al Pitrelli with me on a Zoom call. Al is a guitarist, music director, original member of Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Well, welcome to the studio, Al. It's great to have you.
Good to see you, my brother. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say off the bat, we were talking before we went on the Facebook Live about how TSO's longevity and how, it's this extended family across the country. Back in, I think it was 2009, it may have been 2010, but Paul and I did an interview for a newspaper, so it was just over the phone. And, you talk about how you catch up with everybody in these media times. I think we talked for an hour and 15 minutes that day. And after, we got to talking about kids, and I was a new dad. And so, just to show how much love that is, like, he sent me tour jackets from that tour for my kids when they could grow into them, which they now finally have. So, but yeah, it's a beautiful thing. TSO is family for a lot of us.
For a lot, and I bet in that hour and a half you talked to him, 90% of it had nothing to do with the band.
It was about music, but yeah, it wasn't directly about TSO for sure. Yeah,
that's who he is, and like we were just chatting before we got rolling about the relationships that have been developed over what's approaching 28 years this coming March. Is when I played those opening notes on Christmas Eve Sarajevo, and again, the relationships between, the band, the crew, the audience, the O'Neill family, it's just grown way past my wildest dreams.
Yeah. And it has become, a Christmas tradition, a family tradition for people now going, into another generation. You guys, let's get the business out of the way first, because everybody needs to get their tickets today. You guys are coming to St. Louis to the Enterprise Center on December the 10th. It's the Ghost of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. The tour, if you've ever seen Trans-Siberian Orchestra live, then you know the experience. If you've not, I don't know where you've been hiding or why you've missed this. But one of the things I thought was of note is you're bringing a, quote, completely updated presentation of the unforgettable, multi-generational, like we said, holiday tradition, the Ghost of Christmas Eve. You in a music director role, I mean, you've got a storied career as a guitarist, music director, going back to the 80s. And we could get into the weeds on the rock and roll side. We won't today because we've got limited time. But, when Paul, one of the things is longevity. When Paul recruited you for TSO and said, I got this side project. I mean, did you think the original crew really saw the vision of this as something that would become this everlasting monolith of music for the season?
No, is the short answer. The longer answer is going to be, Paul called me up March 95, and he was working on a record for the band Savatage. The album was called Dead Winter Dead. And he had auditioned a bunch of guitar players to come in and work on it. Really wasn't like kind of vibing. All great players, mind you.
Sure.
He's looking for something specific, because it's a very dark story, of course, with a happy ending, whatever. Now, I had spent a lot of time working for a lot of artists over the years. Paul and I met in 1985. So he knew that I was out cutting my teeth in a lot of different genres.
Right.
So he just said, listen, dude, can you just come in and work on this track with me? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, dude. I'd love to. I'll be right there, whatever. Anyway, I walk in the studio. He puts the faders up on what was to become Christmas Eve Sarajevo. And I looked at him, when your dog looks at you sideways, it doesn't. And I'm like, what's with the Christmas song? And he laughed, and he goes, it's not really a Christmas song. It's a soundtrack depicting events that took place on Christmas Eve during the war in Sarajevo. I said, now you got my attention. What's up?
Right.
The long and the short of it is, there was a classically trained musician who used to bring his cello to the town square and play pieces by Mozart, Tchaikovsky, whomever, in protest to the bombing raids. Now, as he's telling me this story, like you and I are looking at each other right now, the hair on my arm stood up.
Yeah. You still get that chill. Yeah.
Because I was Alice Cooper's musical director, and we played in Zagreb and Belgrade before the war. And I was in the town square he was referring to. And hit the record button.
Right.
And that's what those opening notes. And that's it. He's like, that's the mood. It's like setting up, here come the planes. And I approached it like underscoring or getting involved with a soundtrack instead of thinking like a guitar player. I just what would go on musically that's going to kind of enhance the vision that Paul has, and that was it. So I figured, man, this is like a ridiculously powerful, dark, heavy piece of music. Good luck. So and then he asked me to continue working on the rest of the Dead Winter Dead record, and I got Joint Sabotage, great bunch of players and some of my best friends. And that you fast forward to, like, let's say late November, early December of '95, and it became the #1 requested song in America, like overnight.
Boom.
Dude, you got a hit on your hands when talk radio's playing your song.
Right.
You're on something. And that's when, Paul said, I'm going to write an entire story around this song. I was like, count me in. Because whatever was to become of it, I was just so happy to be involved in some form of art that was so powerful and meaningful. You know what I mean? Would I ever think that, like, here we go again, approaching 28 years later, that you and I would still be talking about this? No, man, longevity is a wonderful thing. I'm glad that I was there from the jump, and I'm so proud to still be part of it and to be able to talk to you about it and to bring this show, live.
Yeah, absolutely. And you went to Berkeley. I mean, I can imagine as a musician myself, my brain is trying to wrap around, how that room would act. And even since then, things like Night Castle and all the development of the music through the years. Part of that is the incredible musicianship. And if you're a musician and you're listening to you guys, you're filled up. It's not you can not be a musician, simplest mind in the world, and really enjoy the show. And you can be a musician's musician and really enjoy the show. And I think that's part of the beauty of it is it kind of transcends one specific pocket. Like, oh, it's Christmas music. No, it's not that. It's rock music. Well, no, it's not that. It's orchestral music. Well, no, it's not that. It really is this big balloon that a lot of people can hang out in. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Very well said, because, Paul and I both grew up in the New York area. Okay. And when you live in close proximity to New York City, you have everything available to you art-wise.
Right.
Okay? So you got Madison Square Garden, which, all the bands would come in and just like tear it up, You got Radio City down the block. You got the Theater District. You got Carnegie Hall. You got the Beacon. So myself, his family, everybody who grew up in that area was exposed to all these different genres of music and live situation. But if you even go precede that, like when I was a kid in the 60s, there was like WABC AM was the only radio station in town that would come through my dad's car stereo in Pontiac. Yeah. So when you heard music, it could have been something from West Side Story or The Sound of Music. It could have been the Beatles. It could have been Marvin Gaye. It could have been Sinatra. And it was all these things.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, the two styles of music were good and bad. That was it.
Right.
It kind of got fragmented over the years. It is what it is. So when Paul was writing this story, like you had said, well, it's Christmas music. Yeah, and it's this.
Right.
Because he's got to tell a story. The music is the soundtrack for the story. So in very like Andrew Lloyd Webber fashion, doesn't matter. It's just my responsibility is to kind of help capture the vibe of what the lyric is saying. And if there is no lyric, the song has to speak for itself instrumentally. So you don't approach it like an instrumentalist. You approach it like we're writing a score.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of the allure, of the tours is obviously the music and the storytelling to it, but the other creativity that goes along with it. The artwork. What's Greg Hildebrand? Is that the guy who did a lot of the artwork? The staging, the technical wizardry, the pyrotechnics. Anybody who's ever been involved with a show with pyrotechnics knows that's next level anyway. And you guys take it beyond that. And that's part of the allure of it. All of that encompasses the whole TSO experience and fuels the love for the show.
And every year it gets changed, and every year it gets bigger. 99, we did our first tour, and I think it was like 7 or 8 cities up in the Northeast,
Mm-hmm.
A 24-foot box truck, 2 buses, and a fog machine. It's awesome.
I'm trying to encompass the TSO experience like that.
Like a theater, mind you, and it was the most exciting thing ever. Because, and then the next year, maybe it was, 3 buses and an extra truck, 2 fog machines, and you're talking about 23 years later. I rolled out of town last year at the last show, and I counted, we had 21 tractor trailers, 12 buses, close to 100 people on the crew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like 20 kids grow up. We were talking about that just before.
Yeah.
You know, here's this little infant that just got born. You're like, oh my God, I got to protect it, keep it warm, you know.
Right.
And toddler, adolescence, you know, young adult, and it just grows up to be something that I didn't see this one on the radar, brother. You know?
Right.
I'm just so proud of it. I was there when it opened its eyes. You know, it's Paul and his wife. It's their baby.
Right.
I was just like the crazy weird uncle in the corner. You know, he was proud. You know,
The fun uncle.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think another reason that people love TSO, and it's not necessarily always at the forefront of the promotion and things like that, but you guys have made a lot of donations to charity over the years from your ticket sales to like the tune of more than 18 million bucks just throughout North America. You know, what kind of charities, what's on TSO's radar these days for how you make that happen?
Well, that's Paul O'Neill and his family. That's who the owners people, dude. You know, you talked about with the jacket before, and like just a love for humanity like I've never seen.
The jacket and the vinyls and the vinyls and the CDs. I mean, he sent me a box that like I felt so guilty for just, you know, it was an awesome conversation.
That's who he is. That's who his family is. You know, they want to change the world. Now, when you think about $1 a ticket, it doesn't seem like a whole heck of a lot of money. But over 23 or so years of touring and a lot of tickets being sold, that added up to a lot of money to go back into the community that's embraced us and put us on the map.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the holidays.
Yeah.
I mean, we all been through like a whole mess for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, and what's going on with the economy and inflation. And, you know, my wife and I took the kids out to the movies last week, whenever it was, you know, bunch of Skittles, Raisinets, and popcorn, 4 tickets and a cheeseburger. It was like $200. It's like, huh?
Right.
You know, no.
Yeah. It's a little nuts.
Well, you know, this time of year, people who were in need, like before the economy went out of control, are really going to be in need of things. And like I said, Paul, his wife, his daughter, all they want to do is make a difference in the world. And I'm just so proud of what they represent and how they go about doing it. And they are making a change, man. And it's wonderful to watch.
It is. And, you know, like you said, we're entering that season of Thanksgiving. People start to reflect on that. Their hearts start to open up a little bit more. And I think that's part of the warmth that comes with the music too, is that, you know, it just fosters that feeling. As we get into that time, what are you most thankful for?
Well, you know, listen, at my age, I'm thankful to be on this side of the dirt. You know, you know, listen, I have so much to be thankful for. It's just that every year I have the same emotion that probably you do. Anybody watching us will have, everybody in the arena. I'm thankful for an incredible life. I'm thankful to people who were in my life, and I miss a lot of them terribly, you know. And that's one of the things that Paul's story it resonated with me, that, like, you know, my dining room will always have an empty chair around the place, you know. Maybe whomever it is that I love and miss left this world into their next. Maybe I just haven't spoken to a buddy in 30 or 40 years because life kicked in and whatever happens, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody said the other day, and it really hit home with me, that I'd rather miss you than have never had you in my life. You know? And so there's a bittersweet emotion that permeates the holidays, especially Christmas. And when Paul wrote the story, and in this case, we're performing The Ghost of Christmas Eve this year, there's a teenage runaway who finds herself lost in this old theater on Christmas Eve, and she's scared, tired, lonely, cold. She wants to go home. She doesn't remember why she ran away. And then from the father's vantage point, he wants his baby girl home, pleading to the heavens, you know. And what I've noticed over, like, you know, 20-something years is that everybody watching and listening has the same feeling, because, you know, everybody misses somebody, dude.
Yeah.
And not that it makes it any less painful or sad, but to know that everybody else in that arena is sharing in that a similar sentiment. At least you have a sense of comfort that you're not alone in that feeling.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm so thankful to be part of something so special that does bring people together, not only musically and visually and, you know, bombastically, but emotionally and spiritually.
Absolutely.
You know? I think that's very, very special. I think that's what is helping the longevity of this. It's my job, along with everybody else in the organization, to make sure every time we come out, we're better than we were last year, you know, because It's no joke when people turn around and say, you become part of our family's holiday tradition. That's an enormous honor and compliment and a pretty big responsibility, because what would break my heart is showing up by you guys and having you walk out of the arena going, yeah, last year was better. Yeah. No.
Well, I know it's a lot of work, and, we're thankful for you, the massive amount of crew that it takes to pull this off, and the fact that it's still fun for you to do it, that you're passionate about taking it to the next level and continue to evolve Trans-Siberian Orchestra and the presentation that comes with it. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you. Listen, it was always, I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah.
And that was, Paul O'Neill and his family, it was paramount to that.
Yeah.
You don't get to finish a tour and go, woohoo, and sit back. You get to finish a tour and go, woohoo, what are we doing next year?
Yep. That's it.
So when somebody wins the Super Bowl, it's like, awesome, you guys crushed it. Well, that's in the rearview mirror now.
Yeah.
What are we going to do next year?
Yep.
Listen, my Jets are 4-2 this year. Who would have thunk? So somebody did homework in the offseason to get it straight.
That's it. Yep. And that's what it takes is that 12-month-a-year commitment. Yeah.
And listen, they're working on the 2023 tours. You and I are talking right now. It's always 14, 15 months ahead of my first movie, and it's awesome. It's exciting, but it is a lot of work. And the kick is that the folks in the audience, they'll never know what it took to put that show on. I just want them to sit back and go, this is awesome.
Yep.
This is absolutely spot on. They don't know why. They just know, like you said, they're just loving every second of it.
Yep.
So, I'll always tip my hat to the O'Neill family, our managers, our department, our crew, because we'll rehearse this show 30 or 40 times before opening night on November 16th, because it's got to be perfect, dude.
Yep.
It's got to be. My opening night is my first show, and I want it to be a perfect first show. I'm going to see you, I don't know, 3-4 weeks after that. Maybe it's my 25th show, but it's going to be your first show.
Right.
And you're going to have the same first show that they did on November 16th in Council Bluffs or Green Bay, wherever I am. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what we were taught to do this by Paul and his family. And it would be perfect.
Well, and they set the bar high early. Here's the precedent. This is the bottom of where we're going to be. From here we grow. From here we excel. And you guys have kept that tradition, alive. It's fantastic.
Because it's a privilege to do it. Everybody in the organization lives for this.
Right. Yeah.
I saw the Beatles in 1964 on Ed Sullivan. I was 2 years old in my feety pajamas, mind you. That was it.
Yep.
The decision's been made. Choice is over. I'm going to do this somehow, some way. I'm going to try to be that.
Yep.
You have the opportunity to do so. It's like my dream come true every day. I put that Les Paul around my neck. I immediately turn back into a 15-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
It was the greatest thing ever.
It's the best job in the world.
Best day ever.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of work. People say, oh, you got to eat. Well, no, it's not easy,
Yeah.
Nothing's easy, but if it's worth doing, I don't have a choice. I'm going to do this, And once you accomplish that, maintaining it, and like you said, continually helping it grow and mature. It's so much fun, dude. I hope you and I have this conversation for another 28 years.
I hope so as well. You guys,
I might be in a walker by then. But
at the rate I'm going, I may be right there with you. Maybe we'll just do a live Facebook from the home they put us in. There you go.
It is. It'll be fun. It'll be the best day ever then too.
Pitrelli and pudding. Tune in tomorrow. It'll be perfect.
Yeah, I'll be like this, drooling.
Yeah. TSO is in St. Louis, Saturday, December 10th. Tickets are on sale now at trans-siberian.com. They're everywhere. You're going to find those tickets without a problem. And I know if you've not seen TSO, make plans to do it this year. Make it a part of your family's Christmas tradition, and you won't be disappointed. Al, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I hope we get to chat again soon.
I can't wait, my brother. Listen, love and respect. Stay safe. Wish your family the best. And I'll see you in a couple months, give or take.
Perfect. We'll see you then. Thanks much.
Bye now.
Been another Humans in Tune segment here on 93.9 Mike FM's Facebook page. Appreciate you tuning in. You can catch us next time on Humans in Tune. We'll have another one next week. Pamela Stone joining me for a conversation about making the inner you even bigger and better.
Join 93.9 Mike FM on Facebook for live conversations with amazing people during Darren's Humans in Tune videos. Miss the live video? Catch the replay on our Facebook page or listen to the podcast at 939mikefm.com.